Hello, everyone, and welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick. This is an evening ramble. It's going to be coming to you quite late. Got a fair bit to be talking about tonight, so we're going to be touching on the striker situation as well. But there's some other bits and pieces. There's some developments on the channel that I want to touch on before we sort of move any further, just to sort of give you all a clear picture as to what's happening and what's going to be happening moving forwards as well. So first of all, if you are new to this channel, please don't forget, subscribe. Around about 40-50% of people that view most of our videos are not subscribers. It doesn't cost anything, just hit the subscribe button, click the bell, and then you'll see when we go live or when we upload a video. And don't forget, drop a like on the video because it does really help us. It does. So before we get into the West Ham talk and the striker situation, there's been a bit of a development on the channel, just to be transparent with you all, because obviously, as you all know, myself and my brother and John, we started this channel, Claret and Booze. We started it back in lockdown, and we did it when basically we had nothing to do. It all started with a Facebook group, because I got booted out of every Facebook group known to man, so I started my own Facebook group. Then we just decided to do, because we was bored, we did a Facebook live video. The people in the community seemed to enjoy it, so we started a YouTube channel, and it's gone on from there. And myself, Gary and John, we've put in countless hours over the years to do this, because I know John's not been present on this channel just recently, but don't forget, John was involved in the channel all the way up until we got to about 8 or 9K, which were like the hard yards, hundreds of hours of videos, maybe even thousands. I don't know. It's a long time, 3 years, and we've been very consistent with our content as well. Been putting in a lot of time. Don't forget those Sunday night shows; they can run for like 3 hours, 3.5 hours. So we've all done that. And John is still involved in the channel. He is. He's got his own stuff going on at the moment, and he will be back. Which I'm really happy about. I am. So John will be back, but something has happened on the channel with Gary. Gary has decided to withdraw from the channel, Claret and Booze. So it's a big shame. He's a key figure on the channel. I'm a little bit gutted. He's my brother as well, so it is what it is. We've sort of spoken about it, and Gary's just decided that he wants to sort of take his own direction now. I think what that's going to result in is Gary doing videos on a separate channel, and the channel that he created 5 months ago. So that channel is there. It's currently called Claret and Booze Reserves. I don't know whether he'll change the branding of it to something else. I'm not sure, but that's where you can find him anyway. I don't know if and when he's going to sort of go over and start making videos on there, but he said that's his intention is to make a couple of videos a week, sort of moving forwards. But yeah, for whatever reason, he's decided to sort of pull back from that and go in his own direction. So he's his own man. I fully support him as well. Fully support him. I do get it. We've been doing this together now for a long time. So I do wish him all the best. I love him. He's my brother at the end of the day. So that's where you'll currently find him. That's where the handle is at the moment. It's Claret and Booze Reserves. So I don't think there's anything on there at the moment, but as and when, if you subscribe, as and when if he does make a video, it'll be on there. It won't sadly be on Claret and Booze anymore. So that is where we are. And it is a shame, but that doesn't mean that Claret and Booze is going to finish. Far from it. I've put far too much sweat and tears, hours into this to quit now, and I love it. I absolutely love doing this. Otherwise, I simply wouldn't do it. I'm a busy man myself. I've got a missus, I've got kids, I've got 4 dogs. I run a kids football team, run a business as well. I'm busy, so it just so happens that with the little spare time that I've got, I enjoy talking about West Ham and talking to you guys, and I enjoy working with the people that I work with. And we have got a big team, as you know. We've got Mickey, we've got John, we've got Jay. We've also got a bigger team as well, because since we've started up the community on Circle, we've got Amanda, we've got Kerry, we've got Luigi, we've got Sam. There's plenty of people, there's plenty of people that you're likely to see in the upcoming months, because we was thinking about freshening things up anyway, because obviously towards the end of last season, it was all doom and gloom last year. The football was doom and gloom, and that's not going to be the way it is moving forwards, unless, heaven forbid, things go the same way. Because look, we're an organic, fluid channel. We go with what's happening at the time. So I'm hopeful that it's going to be positive next season. So that's what you're going to be seeing on the channel. You still get brutal honesty. Of course you will. Nothing will change on that front. But on the whole, the mood will be very, very different. And like I said, the show will go on. The Sunday night phone-in shows will still continue. They will. My rambles, will still continue. Maybe some other people will start to pitch in at some point as well. We're also doing the two-man shows as well. So I'm doing one with Jay, which I did the first one last week. And these are going to be entirely football sort of moving forwards as well. The last one was sort of an introduction. So moving forwards, they're going to be football discussion shows just about West Ham. And I'm hoping to do the same with John and the same with Mickey as well. So there'll be sort of a little bit more sort of diverse content. We'll be doing match reviews. We don't do previews because I just feel like they're a waste of time. I don't enjoy them. We'll talk about them. If I'm doing a show and there's a game coming up, I'll talk about the game coming up. But I don't do previews. I don't. We do the reactions. We talk about it. We do the player ratings and stuff like that. That will continue. And the Sunday night show is kind of the staple diet of Claret and Booze. That will remain once we get closer to that season, which isn't long away. We're around about 40 days away now. But yeah, like I say, I've been talking for about 6 minutes about that now. So I just wanted to be open, honest and clear with everyone that is a situation. You won't be seeing Gary on this channel anymore. And I do wish him all the best for the future. So yeah, if you do want to sort of go and support him and go and watch his content, you'll find him over on the Claret and Booze Reserves channel. I've been abandoned. No, I haven't. I've got plenty of people here to keep me company. It's fine. It's fine. Don't always work out well working with your family, does it? Let's face it. Not always. We still love each other. But I think, 3 years is probably long enough. So yes, that's where we are. So I'm clearing it up because what I don't want is all of the fucking talk, people coming to me, asking me what's going on, this, that, the other. I've been open with you. I've told you. That's it. There isn't anything else to say. There's not. So, moving on to West Ham. I said I was going to talk about West Ham, and I am. Danny Ings. He ain't going. He's refusing. Southampton have put a £6 million bid in. We've even offered to pay some of his wages so that he don't lose out, he don't have to take a pay cut. He said, no, I don't want to go Southampton. I thought he had an affiliation. He's played affiliation with them. He's played with them before. But no, he's refusing to go. So I don't know. It's like we can't even give him away because 6 million is almost giving him away, but he won't go. He's refusing to go. Now, I don't know whether that is because he feels like he's got something that he can offer Lopetegui, whether Lopetegui's spoken to him. He can't have. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been offering to subsidise his wages to sort of get shot of him. That can't be the case that Lopetegui said I can use him. I don't think it is. But he don't want to go. He wants to stay. So that's 120 grand a week on our wage bill. I don't think that's going to stop us going out and getting another forward. It's not. Because we are still continually linked. So I've spoken about John Duran. John Duran is still very much on the agenda. I know there's stories out there that Aston Villa are saying 50 million. They probably are saying 50 million. They ain't going to get 50 million for him. He hasn't played enough football yet. He did do well last season, to be fair. In the few minutes that he got, I know there's some question marks over his attitude and this, that, the other, but his attitude is born largely out of the fact that him and Emery did not see eye to eye because he didn't feel like he was treated fairly by Emery. He wasn't getting the minutes, and he's a striker that believes in himself, so he's not going to be happy sitting on the bench. He is only young. He's 20 years old, but if he came to West Ham, he'd be playing every game. So it'd be a very happy John Duran. I still think that there is something in that deal. I can see something happening later on. The other one that we've spoken about is Ivan Toney. Apparently, there is not another club that's in for Ivan Toney. Now, we know that Brentford were asking a ridiculous amount of money for him. It was around about 100 million, but he's got a year left on his contract. They ain't going to get that. So what are they going to do? They're going to let him run his contract down so that he can leave on a free? I don't think so. He's 29. We should be able to pick him up for about 20, 30 million. I don't think we should be paying any more than that for him because he's going to be quite heavy on the wage front. So I think that there is something in that, especially if some of the bigger clubs that he would probably hope to go to, teams that are in the Champions League, maybe they don't want to touch him because he's damaged goods because of what's happening with the betting scandal. Well, look, we like the bad man. We took Di Canio. We'd take anyone. I'd love Ivan Toney. He would be my choice, even though I really want John Duran, and he's the right age profile, and his ceiling's up here, and You know, Ivan Toney's 29, and you could say, well, he's on the way down. I still think Ivan Toney, if you buy him for 20, 30 million, you've got your striker for the next 4 years. You have. It's done. It's absolutely done. So I would make an exception for Ivan Toney because he's Premier League proven, and I just think he takes the bollocks of penalties where he don't even look at the ball. He don't even look at the ball. The other one that we're linked with, who's also 29, and I ain't sold on, is ex-Crystal Palace player Alexander Horloff, who was the second highest scorer in La Liga last year for Villarreal, and he plays up front with Erling Haaland. But he ain't Haaland. He's a 6'5" lump. He's a good player, but he's already played in the Premier League. Didn't do particularly well. I heard someone say earlier on, you know, and they're right. I'm going to call you out. It was Russ Budden. He said, I've heard some people say, you know, they don't want to go for this player because they're 29 and then they want Ivan Toney. Yeah, that's right. I'll make an exception for some players that I want. I don't know who this Alexander Sorloth is. I've seen a few of his clips. He looks like a cart horse. I'm not that keen on it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not. So for me, at 35 million, no. But he's another one, like Max Kilman. If he comes in, I'll love him. But if talking about him now as a choice, if you're talking about him or Toney, there should be no discussion, none at all. Go out and get Toney. And if we can, get John Duran in as well to play backup, sit on the bench so he can get pissed off with Lopetegui like he did with, what's his face, last year, Emery. I'd love John Duran, I would. And talking about that as well, I've had a bit of a change of heart because it's all been about age profile for me. It is. I'm flip-flopping like mad at the moment. But I've had a few discussions, that's what it is. I haven't just had an epiphany. I've had a few discussions and I've been convinced. It's important when you're going out in a transfer window and you're doing a rebuild that you have a strategy which involves buying in young players that you can develop and then at some point sell on for a higher fee and make a big profit on it, aka Guilherme. But it's also important to go out and buy seasoned professionals in their peak that are not coming to you as a shop window player. For instance, Max Kilman. Max Kilman isn't coming to West Ham at 27 years old so that he's looking for a deal elsewhere. He's not. This is his move. This is Max Kilman's big move. Max Kilman has signed a 7-year contract and he's committed his future to us. That's what he's done. We've got a player in his prime and he's committed his future to us. That is also important. Rather than having a raft of young players that are literally, because they do, you know, you're bringing in these players from South America. We're a shop window club. If Guilherme hits his dizzy heights that he's anticipated that he will, I doubt he's going to be at West Ham for too much longer, probably 2 years, 3 years. But then when you sell him, you make a big fat profit on him and you can go out and buy Alexander Sorloth. I hope we don't sign him. But I said this about Max Kilman, didn't I? I don't care who we sign. As long as we do sign some players, I think it's important that we do get a striker. I would love Toney. I just think that is... And also, it's a British spine as well, you know, a little bit. Well, kind of, because it's not really, is it? But British up front, British at the back, because you've got Max Kilman leading the back line, Ivan Toney leading us from the front, and then we've got all that flair and creativity. You've got the Ghanaian and Kudus. You've got Paqueta, if he ain't been locked up in Pentonville. You've got... what's his name? Alvarez behind him. It'd be delicious, wouldn't it? You know, some of these players that we are linked with, it is very, very exciting. It is. I do think that we're still going to get a left winger. That's going to happen. I can see Kyle Walker-Peters happening. There's a little bit of disparity between the clubs at the moment with us and Southampton in terms of negotiations. But that, to me, feels like it's got legs. I think that we'll probably get that deal done. He's another one that ain't young. He's not a baby. He's 27, but he's got a year left on his contracts. We should get him for a bargain price. We should, you know. We should be getting him for 10 million, 15 million, in my opinion. He's only got a year left. So that would be good business. It would be. I'd rather us buy him than do a part X with Downs. I'm still not sold on selling Downs. I don't think we should. I'd like to see Downs under Lopetegui. I would. See what he can do. I know everyone keeps saying he's not good enough. We don't know he ain't good enough. He's played the season before we signed him and the season after when he went to Southampton, the best player in the Championship. But then I hear people saying, you've got to go and buy this player from the Championship because he was great that year. Downs has been great. Let's give him a chance. Let's see what happens. So look, anyway, I'm not going to carry on talking. The main reason I made this video was so that I could deliver that message at the start. I'm sure it's a bit of a shock to you all. It has been for me as well. But these things happen. The show will go on. The format ain't really going to change. You're still going to be seeing me on the daily rambles. The Sunday night booze ups are still going to be there. The phone ins, all that sort of stuff. It's all still going to be happening. But there'll be another channel. I don't know whether he'll keep it as a Claret and Booze Reserves or whether he'll rename it. We'll have to wait and see. But yes, so I've quashed it. So there's no rumours. Everyone knows what's happening. Best of luck to Gary. And don't forget, subscribe to this channel, please. Drop a like on the video. And I will be seeing you tomorrow, if I've got time. Otherwise, it'll be the next day. Go with your words!